Hello, everyone. Let me try this again. Do not hit the finish button, Charlie. Welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman. Uh, every day is an adventure, so it's good to be here with you once again. Uh, my show this morning or talk will certainly revolve around this week's events as we gather together around the world to embrace each other as one family, as one group of conscious, awakened beings who are even stepping further into our awakening. Good morning, Amanda. And I can even look at the screen now today. I'm getting braver. So there were three words that kept rolling through my mind all week. And I'm sure many of you, like myself, are watching the world and the water in the world. Not only here in the United States and Texas with Hurricane Harvey, which is now spreading across the country, but also in India and Bangladesh and Nepal, and the amount of carnage, I'd like to use a better word for it, but that it's created for the lives of so many of our brothers and sisters around the world. Water is, well, I'm just going to say it, without water, there's no life. Many of you may recognize the name Riverman, and 25 years ago, I was given that name. It wasn't about water at that time. It was about the light energy that I brought through and still bring through. But it has been my passion for 25 years. And in the beginning, I wasn't even aware of it, except for I was guided to go to rivers and the ocean and given a chant to sing and asked to place crystals or stones commemorating cosmological events. So I did that, and as I journeyed along, the water became more and more meaningful to me. The past couple of years has been a profound shift, and I have met with many other people who around the world are in the process of healing and blessing water. And we do it publicly as part of a group called Loving Waters. And they have a Facebook, we have a Facebook page. We also have a web page called lovingwaters.life. And you may visit us. And so I'm a watershed guardian and a council member. And as this water arises in and around the world, it's a challenge for all of us not to find some kind of anger or frustration and want to be mad at the water or mad at nature. And I can assure you it's a way of life that we have ever since humanity began has had to endure. If we look back in our history, all the way back to what we call the biblical floods, every indigenous tribe around the world, or pretty much, has a flood story. And so this is not new. This is not something that is to be taken lightly, but it's not new. Humanity has been dealing with this since the beginning. The next word was service, or I'm going to read them backwards because it's funny how I wrote them, and then we'll go to compassion. Service for me is to be of service, and to be ready, willing, and able to express myself to others in a way that gathers them and lifts them into the act of service as well. So part of my talks here are actually to get you all to find some form of service in your own way, in your own heart that you resonate with, and to express yourself through service. As I feel that all of us, as great gifted souls, have the ability to really make a change, especially right now with the energies that are coming in. And so the problem is with all of this flooding is it's displacing thousands, if not millions, over the years, and it's creating a deep sense of grief, a deep sense of fear, a deep sense of separateness, and we are truly being called together to anchor light for those who are going through this. I have a pin on my desktop here. It says the greatest one for flooding, 15 countries account for 80% of the population exposed to river flood risk worldwide. This is not something that's going to go away. Several other articles talked about the increasing in the amount of floods around the world. India and Bangladesh and China, of course, lead the way because they have the greatest population. However, it doesn't matter where we are around the world. We're human. We have families. We have children, grandmothers, grandfathers, all of whom are codependent on many of us for their nurturing and their survival. So when the floods happen, it disrupts everything and creates an intense energy of despair and fear. Each of us who are not in those zones begin to resonate with that energy. And so in our own lives, even though we may be thousands of miles away from the epicenter of the energy, it affects us. It affects us when we wake up in the morning. It affects us when we go to work. It affects us when we go to the store and buy something. And so this is our sympathetic reaction. It's interesting how the stages of so many of our beingness revolve around sympathy, empathy, and compassion. I'm not a psychologist, nor am I a scientist. And I was listening to a show the other day. A friend put out, she was talking to a scientist about, she talks about energy in a spiritual manner. And the scientist was cringing because she was using scientific terms for spirituality, and she couldn't understand that because in her thinking, it didn't make sense. And much of what we do today is learning that there is science in spirituality, and there is spirituality in science. So when we get our news about the floods, people will talk about from a scientific or a educational point of view. And for those of you who understand this, I love you all. I'm not an expert at anything. I'm just me coming to you live, bringing what's in my heart. And so I honor all that you do. I honor all of your wisdom and I honor all of your teachings. And I encourage people to balance their spirituality with science and it will help stabilize you through this process of accepting and working with the energies. So we have basically sympathy, empathy, and compassion to deal with on our personal level. This is what it brings it home. This is where we feel it, even though we're not in the front lines, so to speak. And so sympathy is basically our understanding of others and feeling a feeling of care or concern for others, knowing that we too could possibly be in a similar situation. And so we start to think about, oh, how, if that was me, I'd be going crazy. What would I do? And so as we do that, we start to take on some of the energy of what the other people are going through. And it's a wonderful process that humanity does, because we are all one. We feel everything. On a deeper level, we become, and many of us are, empathic, highly sensitive to other people's feelings. So in sympathy, we care about other people's suffering, but in empathy, it changes and we begin to feel that suffering. So it takes a deeper level of our energy, and it starts to bring up things in our own lives that we may not even have been aware of. It becomes triggers for a lot of things we may have experienced in life. And what I find in my own path is that a lot of the triggers revolved around fears that, whether innocently or not, made us make choices that we may not have made otherwise had the fear not been present, because fear triggers our survival instinct. So as these people around the world who are suffering and in this fear and survival mode, we too, as a collective of the human race, begin to resonate with that. And I'm going to ask each of you to recognize within yourself when that begins to happen, and when it becomes perhaps overwhelming, or you find yourself doing things that you normally wouldn't do, based around an idea of lack or survival or separation, or just a deep sense of foreboding. This is the effect. This is the effect of the water on our body. We are water beings. And as water beings, when the water creates this energy, we too resonate. So we're not only sympathetic and empathic with the humans, we're also sympathetic and empathic with the water. I will share with you that my understanding at this point is that the waters hold the memory of all humanity, of all life. The water within our body holds all our memory. It's not just an object. It's not just a hydrogen and oxygen. It's far more sentient than we are capable of proving scientifically or understanding spiritually or metaphysically. But as a result of my working with water, blessing it, showing up, communicating with it, I understand that there is a whole deeper level of life that we're just beginning to either remember or open the door to with new light. And this part of this is empathy. It's feeling it. And at that level of empathy, we want to share. We want to share our water, our life, our beingness with others, and our emotions with whoever appears to be before us suffering, which leads to compassion. And compassion is when we suffer with the other person or with the water, or we suffer and we choose it consciously. It's a choice. It's not something we have to do, but we know that in our own hearts, what would we sort of reflect? What would make us feel better? What, when we're suffering, what would make us feel better? And instead of just sitting there, we say, let's practice that. Let's go out and be of service to others and sit with them, be with them, hold their hand, take them to lunch, talk with them, share the space and energy with them. So this week has been an amazing process for all of us, not just those in the path of the water, because each of us have been deeply affected by it. And there is no telling what wonderful things are going to happen for all of us as a result of this. And this is what I'd like you all to focus on, is that this is an opportunity to be of service, to be compassionate, to be kind, to extend to others that which you would like others to be and share with you. We're just one family, wherever we are. And some of us are hungry, and some of us are homeless, and some of us now have had everything that we held as valuable in our lives just seemingly trashed for no reason whatsoever. And it isn't because anybody was bad, or the flood stories, oh, it was God striking humanity for being evil or whatever. That's not the case. The case is, this is life on earth. This is the Mother Earth. These are the changes. We as human beings, created by that which we call God, are far more than we ever can think we are. And we're not being subjected to the women fancy of somebody else. That has been part of our programming, so that we could control population. We could, as population grew and communities combined and indigenous tribes met with each other, et cetera, how do you control this? And so we've devised this plan. The plan is not working. And I think we're going to see a lot of that play out in the aftermath of this flooding. We're going to see how the system has an opportunity here, it really does, to rise and shine to the occasion, or to show us how it has truly failed us. At which point, we're going to have to make a different choice. And the choice is ours, to either to continue following something, a pattern or a construct that no longer serves the good of the whole, or it's going to have to inspire us to create something new, because we are the creators. Our ancestors created this construct, and we will create a new one, a better one. And that's what I'm hoping to see as a result of all of this sadness, all of this pain and suffering for the children, the animals, the grandparents, And I ask for you all to just keep them all deeply in your hearts and do what you can. Be of service in ways that you can. Charity doesn't have to just be about money. It can be about many different things. Charity is just our way of being away from somebody else and saying, I love you and care about you and contributing to the good of the whole. Many of us don't have much ourselves. So it's not an obligation. It's not something that you should feel guilty about if you don't have anything to give. You can write a note. You can do an email. You could text somebody on Facebook or whatever. Communicate with somebody that's going through this and just share a conversation. It can be as simple as that. It can be as simple as supplying, something through Amazon. A lot of these charities will have accounts like they did at Standing Rock, where they put a list of needs for animals or animal shelters, or some of the shelters. You can help some of the shelters directly. So I encourage you all to be of service in some way, and don't make it a job. Make it part of your life purpose, and realize that this is who we are as humans. It's when we can really shine our light and really show others that they're not alone, that they're not separate, that we are unifying, and we are able to share the love and the peace and the light that we are, in spite of all the chaos and problems that are happening around us. So, it's a interesting situation, and it's hard to put our fingers on every moment. But I just wanted to spend this morning sharing with you my love for the water and a little bit what I do and how each of us can help the others. When this all clears, there will be a lot of pollution. There'll be a lot of water that people can't drink, and each one of us have the ability to pray over the water, and we also have the ability to bless the water. I do water blessings, and on Loving Waters, you may find some blessings. We do post some blessings, and join with us there. And you can bless your own rivers, your own water. You can send blessings to the water at any level. And this is scientifically proven by Dr. Emoto, Masaru Emoto, where he would do a simple blessing. And this is as simple as I can share with you, is I thank you, I love you, I respect you. And if you just hold a glass of water in your hands and say that, it actually changes the crystalline structure of the water and has an effect of healing. And when you drink that, your body will resonate with that crystalline structure. Many people for thousands of years have blessed water as a healing cure for others. We have sacred wells that they use the water for blessings. The holy water in the churches is blessed water. There is scientific proof now showing a lot of things that can be done. So even when you think about the people who are suffering, that simple message can be sent. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. And it's our intention that will carry that. And they will feel it in their hearts, because their hearts are filled with blood just like ours. And without water, there's no blood. And so the cycle becomes complete. So as we see the devastation and the sadness, know that out of the chaos is born the new. And this is how creation occurs. And we can be a living and active part of this in just the simplest way of blessing, as in blessing water. And so I did write a prayer that I would like to share with you. I'll call it up here if I can. And as I was preparing for the show yesterday, I was just saying, I like to close my show with a prayer, and so it encourages me to write. And as I do that, I think out amongst the world and realize the bandwidth that this show and the amount of people around the world who will receive these messages, and how important it is for me to include all of you. It isn't just my little self here in York, Maine. It's not just here in America. It's all of us around the world, regardless of race, color, creed, religion. We are humanity, and we need to be an active part in the healing of humanity. And each one of us, I know, who are tuning into this, are an active part. And I thank you. I want to thank you from the deepest part of my heart to be with you and to share with you my thoughts and my somewhat silly reasoning, but I think I always say, take what resonates and leave the rest, and know that my intention is pure, and I wish you the best of everything. And so with that, I'm going to close with this prayer. And I'd like you all to just think about water. Just to close your eyes and imagine or envision a watery place, wherever you are, or your favorite place with the water. It could be a waterfall, a still pond. It could be a river, a well. It doesn't matter. A bowl of water. Just want you to sort of feel into that vibration of water, and know that each of us, as we say this prayer in our hearts, send this message to the water and to all around the world. And I will begin. Dearest and most beloved Creator of all that exists, the waters have come, wreaking havoc, chaos, and destruction. Many families and animals are now scattered and lost, and their homes uninhabitable. Those who remain are seeking security, desperately in need of your comfort and support. Help us to not be angry or condemn the floods or the water for their destructive nature. Let us seek a gracious flow of your love and comfort, to be the sun which dries all the tears. Water can become the great destroyer of all life, as it has in our past civilizations. The hurricanes, the tsunamis, and those floods of biblical proportions are all reminders of the destructive abilities of these floodwaters. Yet, let us also recall now that the world is also balanced and given abundance by your merciful presence. Let us also seek you within the waters, remembering your guiding us within the womb of our mothers. Let us also remember how your springs have brought forth water to quench our thirst while in the wilderness, and how you led us to wells which healed our parched throats from the deserts. Our ancestors have traveled across many waters toward new life and new beginnings. And through your love, we are once again waiting for the waters to subside. Be with us now as we gather during these days of tribulation, drawing us close to all whose lives have been altered, harmed, or taken by these waters which have no harmful intention toward humanity. Let us hear the cries of those who are now homeless and hungry, responding to their needs. Let us support those who will respond to the rescue, whose service is like a precious balm. Let us all come together around the world to care for the weak, displaced, and traumatized. In our rapidly presenting future, may we all look deeper into our sense of purpose, of being better stewards and guardians of Mother Earth. May we give attention to how we can assist, even in the slightest way, the many whose lives are forever changed by the disasters caused by our own greed and denial. May we begin to collectively alter the direction of our future as the human race, so that coming generations may dwell in an era of great cohesiveness and symbiotic relationships. And allow that to just settle into your hearts. And I bid you farewell until next week. May peace, light, and love be the guiding force in all of your choices. Blessings to you all.